Welcome to Cretoni Entertainment. I'm Chris.
I'm Bree.
And in the background, you're going to hear our dogs running around like morons. Let's jump right in here. We're on episode 30 here, Making Space. We're going to finish our Space Rangers today. This is going to be a double-length episode, guys. I target about 15 minutes an episode. This one's going on 30 because we're finishing the Space Rangers. We had enough content to really do 2 more videos on them, but we decided, you know what, no more cliffhangers. Let's get them done. So our first thing we got going on, scrolling across the bottom there, you got our various social medias and our email. Drop us a line, send us suggestions. I want to circle back around to that later, but first I want to tell you what we're doing here. We had to pick up the pink and blue Rangers last week, Bree, if you recall.
Yes.
And fix them.
Yes, because they were janky.
They were janky. So after much long and hard deliberation, I decided there was no need to strip them because the paint dried without really obscuring any of the detail.
Well, that's good.
So I didn't feel the need to strip any of them, so we're just going to salvage them. So we're going to start with our Pink Ranger here, and we're going to salvage her first by rewashing her again with a coat of Carroburg Crimson.
So, the undercoat that we had.
Yes, it's the same one we used to start her off with before we tried that failed contrast attempt.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go over to our Blue Ranger here, and we're going to say, okay, this Calidor Sky is not a terrible base, so we're going to go over him with the Drakenhof Nightshade.
Because you got to save TJ.
We got to save TJ.
Can't leave TJ like that.
Better red Turbo Ranger than Tommy.
Oh, you did it.
Anybody's a better Turbo Ranger than Tommy. Anybody's a better Ranger than Tommy.
Yeah.
That Ranger from the Yogi Bear cartoons was a better Ranger. There was a lot of them. They switched them every once in a while.
No, it was always Ranger.
I would challenge you to go back and watch old Yogi Bear cartoons. There are a number of them where they have not settled on a Ranger there. They cycle back and forth. That's completely pointless. Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and salvage these Rangers. We're putting these washes on them, and then we're going to let them dry. And we're going to keep going until we salvage them the way I want. So circling right back to our social medias and whatnot there, I've actually had a couple of people reach out to me. We've been chatting a little bit on Facebook Messenger. I've had a couple of people not at all send emails. Nobody's done that. And we don't get a lot of comments on the Twitters or the Instagram, although we're going up in followers. It's a big thing for us. I think we hit 97 Instagram followers today, which astounds me. Why? Just why?
Because the Instas.
But here's what really kind of made me think today about social media.
And things.
We got a dislike on the last video. Presumably because... I don't care. It's not that big of a deal.
Find somebody and hunt them down.
Well, apparently it bothers Bree. Presumably because it was a cliffhanger, and it was a terrible cliffhanger, and it just seems like we gave up on the episode. Speaking of giving up on the episode, we're doing an episode right now.
Yeah, you're putting more paint on.
We're going back to that same squid pink. Remember the squid pink we tried to mix with the contrast medium?
Yeah, that did not.
This time we're just doing the squid pink, and we're just going to go ahead and highlight her in the traditional fashion. Squid pink was picked for a couple of reasons. I do have some other pinks. I think this one looks best on Rangers, and there is some continuity here between this pink Ranger and the other pink Rangers. They also use the squid pink as well. So when you put them side by side, they all kind of have a uniform look, and it's got the added bonus of fitting in with the theme of this channel. What's the theme of this channel again?
Every man paint jobs?
Every man paint jobs. You don't have to go buy 10 different pinks to keep up with us here.
We're
not going to do a different pink on every pink Ranger. Does that get a little boring? I don't know, probably. But we still have people who actually watch the videos for some reason. I still haven't figured out why. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and just fix her up with the pink, and we're going to do something similar with the blue. We're going to go back to that Vallejo blue magic that I like so much, that nice, deep, bright blue.
Yeah.
And we're just going to do this as a highlight layer as well. So as per usual, we're leaving the deepest recesses, that darker color, and we're just kind of working the higher areas there. So like right below the knee, we're going to leave shaded, but we're going to get the shin with the blue. We're going to do plenty of work around the groin or crotch area. We're not going to get into that discussion again. But I got to thinking about dislikes on social media without commentary.
Yeah.
What's the point?
What
are you achieving? Somebody actually commented on one of our videos that he was just, I assume it was a he, and I apologize, that's probably my male-centric viewpoint of the universe. But this individual commented on one of our videos saying, I don't really have anything to say. I'm paraphrasing. I don't really have anything to say, but I've heard comments helps the algorithm. which we appreciate. That's awesome. That's awesome that you want to help us with the algorithm, assuming there's other people who actually want to watch this, which astounds me. By the way, the same person told me we need to get on the Rangers Reddit, and I still haven't done that because I'm lazy. So I may recruit you to do that.
Oh.
Because you're managing the Instagram.
Yeah, but the Reddit is like a deep, dark hole of danger.
I know, but I'm lazy.
Oh.
And I'm doing all the painting, so...
I do painting.
Well, yeah, but you're not painting the Heroes of Good stuff.
That's true.
So that's...
You won't let me.
You're right, I won't. We just talked about continuity. We just talked about having everything kind of have a uniformity at the end. I'm still astounded that Terratoad fits in after we're done with craft paints.
He looks good.
But what are we achieving with a dislike without commentary? If you dislike it, that's fine. Guys, these videos are terrible. There's so many better channels on YouTube. I don't even have an opening crawl. We use a pre-built animation that came with this editing program. I actually want to have a logo for us one day. I have one. I have an old Crotone Entertainment logo from a completely different project. It's somewhere in this house on a DVD that I can get the file transferred to this computer if I ever find it. It's somewhere. It is. There is one that exists.
Sure.
You've seen it.
Did I?
Yeah. Years ago.
Oh.
Years ago. Anyway, guys, Crotone Entertainment is the logo under which some buddies of mine way back in the day used to make really terrible movies. It was good times. I loved it. They were all fantastic. But
I've seen some of them. I question that statement.
So things I want to eventually do, I want to get like real title cards, and I want to get real theme music, because you can get some theme music for inexpensive, and it's royalty-free music, and you can put it on your channel, and it's fantastic. But we don't have any of that.
No.
We don't have good lighting. We have a lighting issue. I only have one light source when I'm painting on this black background, and I want to get another one. We may do that this weekend. We'll see what happens. Because we're taking a trip somewhere that'll let me get my hands on lighting. But we may end up getting another piece of lighting here, but we don't have any of that here. So we're going back to the Pink Ranger here. We're doing another coat of the pink because the first one didn't fully cover, because the pink is very translucent.
Yeah, pink is a color that you almost always have to do an undercoat and then a top coat on. And it doesn't matter the model. If you're doing a metal model, if you're doing a plastic model, pink is a multi-step paint.
Well, especially the Vallejo pink here, because I've noticed it comes out a little thick, so I got to thin it down a lot. And the additional water thinning it down really means you got to put some additional coats on, which is fine. But kind of finishing up the social media rant here. I have no problem with a dislike. If you guys don't like the video, tell me you don't like the video. Tell me what you want to see. Tell me what you didn't like about it.
So that we can fix it.
So we can work on it. I've mentioned several times we have other features coming up on this channel. We've started doing Tools and Tech Tuesday, which I think I already renamed it to Tips and Tech Tuesday by accident, because I don't proofread my own work. We were doing the Gamed in 60 Seconds every Friday, but I was getting like single-digit number of views on those.
Yeah.
So it seemed kind of pointless to put in all that effort. So I've kind of scrapped that for the time being. We may come back to it if it ever comes up again. But anyway, we have salvaged our pink and our blue Rangers here.
Yay!
So TJ's looking good.
Better than before.
That's 2 seasons ago.
I mean, but still, they're better than they were before.
But this one's in space.
But they're better than they were in space.
This one's in space. So there's vents on the sides of the helmet. And
yes.
I actually debated whether or not I was going to keep this clip in. There's vents on the sides of the helmet, and while I was touching up the helmets, I said, screw it, it's too much effort to try to paint around these vents. So I waited till now, and I'm going back and I'm grabbing the washes for both of these Rangers and a very fine tip brush and a little bit of patience, and I'm painting a little bit of that wash into those vents. And guys, that's a little trick you can use to kind of cheat your way around working away around small details. You can just go ahead and paint it in. Now, you'll probably have to do several run-overs with the brush, especially if you're using a wash as your fill-in.
Yeah.
Because so much of it's going to get absorbed into the brush bristles and not make it in there. But give it a little patience, and you'll get it as well. So see, you can actually see the vents now. So life is good on that side. These vents I did completely cover, but you'll see we got our red in there, and it's not going to be terrible. But if you have a suggestion, if you have a comment, that's why we have our social media crawls, guys. If you don't want to put the comment on the YouTube, send us an email or reach out to us on Twitter or an Instagram comment. I'll be opening up a Discord possibly as early as for episode 31. I've already got a Discord that doesn't have a lot of activity going on. I think I'm going to repurpose it into a Discord for this channel. I don't know if I'll be ready to do that by next week. I got a lot going on at work this week. But soon. It's coming up soon. I'll share a Discord thing. So, now that we salvage our Ranger, we're going to go back to our other Rangers. And, guys, all of these are good. We could stop right here on the Ranger colors. The yellow one looks particularly good. I'm very happy with it.
She came out so awesome.
The red looks pretty good too.
Yeah.
But again, we've talked about uniformity. We're going to take one additional highlight. You don't have to do this. You can go on to the next step with these 3 Rangers if you don't want to have this additional layer. But I've decided to go ahead and do that additional layer and just one more coat. It's not going to hurt anything. And apparently this clip is a really long time of me not doing anything.
I was like, what? I mean,
that was bad. So
the yellow did look real good.
So Citadel Flash gets yellow. It's a really bright, punch you in the face yellow. This yellow usually has trouble covering almost any color. It covers over this yellow wash and this yellow contrast beautifully.
Yay! Well, because this yellow came out so amazing. It's so poppin'. It's so pretty.
So that's.
I love it. Why are you just went pausey when I said poppin'? Is that too much for you?
Pop.
Pop.
Guys, 6 seasons in a movie. That's what we're gonna have on this channel.
Yeah.
So do we have seasons on this channel? There are video groups that do like seasons where they take a break after so many episodes and kind of regroup themselves. Yeah, podcasts do it too. 6 seasons in a movie.
That's called We Forgot to Do a Week. So it's a season break.
I'm not sure it is because some of them seem planned well in advance. Like, some of them are, like...
so you're saying that would require us actually planning things.
This is true. We're releasing this on Monday, guys. It's 8:47 p.m. on Monday, and we just started the recording. So anyway, the Red Ranger, we've got our Evil Sunz Scarlet. This will put him in line with our other Red Rangers. And again, we're just targeting the highest areas. We're going to leave those deeper, darker reds in those low areas. And I don't know why I always start these Rangers on the legs. For the most part, I start on the legs when I do the highlighting. There's no real reason for that. I just like working from the bottom up. Yeah. And some people like working from the top down, and I don't know.
There's one problem with your Andros here.
What's that?
I'm feeling that I'm missing
his glorious 90s hair?
Yes, those sweet, sweet 90s highlights.
His 90s highlights are fantastic. It's just
that hair was just...
He's not the leader.
He's not. No, TJ was the leader.
TJ's absolutely the leader of the Space Rangers. Andros just happened to have the red morpher.
Yeah.
He was probably the best warrior, but he was not a leader.
No, TJ kept that strong.
But speaking of Andros being a leader, this has absolutely nothing to do with that. This is closer to dolphins getting caught in tuna nets than it is about Andros. The last thing we have going on is going to happen soon here, guys. We're finally going to start doing a companion series, a painting companion series that's almost going to be even more of a podcast format. So we're going to go and we're going to touch up the yellow a little more here. For the same reason, the yellow comes in fairly translucent. So we just kind of touch that up real quick off camera. Don't need to waste more time with it.
Oh, she looks good even close.
She looks fantastic, right? Oh. So now we take our Citadel Gray Seer. And this is a step we're going to do on all the Rangers. Yeah. Everywhere that's supposed to be white, we're now going to paint with a Gray Seer.
Right.
That's
because just going in and doing straight white, ooh, words are hard, right off the bat, is a good way to have to paint about 6 coats of white.
Well, not just that. White's also a very translucent color, and we're going to be putting it over 5 different colors.
Yeah.
Which is not going to be great.
No.
So we're not going to do that. But we're going to have a companion series coming out soon, which is going to be almost like a podcast format. So I'm not going to get into some of the topics today. I'm going to save them for the podcast format, because one of the things I do want to talk about is taking this game into other games. Because we did that kind of micro poll where we got a massive sampling of answers. It was at least 10,000 answers, I'm sure. It's not at all in the couple of people that I'm basing an assumption off of.
Right, yep.
But anyway, legit. We got our Gray Seer on all of them here. We did that kind of off camera because this video would be excessively long without it. But we've got them all rocking there. And we're kind of ready to move to our next step. So Andros is going to be our new dummy, and we're going to go to our Vallejo game color, dead white, which we used for. That was courtesy of our 7-year-old. He popped in, and I thought I removed this clip, so we may actually duplicate this clip in just a second. Here we go. Oh man, I'm so bad at this. I'm going to leave it in because you started laughing. That's going to be our. Wow, I thought I deleted that clip. What clip did I delete?
This is, you know what this is? This is the understanding of hobbying as a parent. I know that I've seen a couple of the comments from some of our followers and stuff like that on Instagram about what it is to be a parent and trying to find and do hobbying and, things like that. Well, there's one of them is you get to have a Nerf gun in your painting time because you are a parent who is a geek. Congratulations.
Let me give some context to what happened there. That was about 6:30 in the morning. I was painting about 6:30 in the morning because I get most of my painting done in the mornings these days. And he woke up And he was perfectly fine playing with his own toys. And by his own toys, I mean actually he was playing with painted Heroes of the Grid figures, and he was setting up a story. But anyway, you were going to go over and we're going to get them all with their white, and then some of them are going to get white touch-ups, because the white, as we mentioned before, is fairly translucent. But they have that yellow collar. Yeah. So we've got this Citadel Averland Sunset, which is a darker yellow. And I picked this specifically because I don't want it as bright as the Yellow Rangers.
There you go.
But we're just going to paint the collar with this. And actually, I screw up a couple of times. I had a bad angle holding the brush here with Carlos. I screw up a couple of times, and I believe I left in the clip where you see kind of how I fixed it real quick. So I'm going to just kind of let that speak for itself. While I mentioned, I was doing my painting in the morning. He came in. He was playing with some of the other figs. You know, we were talking. Then he decided to run off and grab a Nerf gun, and he was a clone soldier from Star Wars. And he kept running in and demanding additional missions from me as a clone soldier. So I would tell him things, and he'd run off. And he knew exactly what I was doing. He knew the camera was rolling. He knew I was working on a miniature. I was getting fairly close to the end. He agreed to stay out of the way. And then out of nowhere, he just reaches over and just puts the gun directly in the way of the camera. It wasn't part of his game. It wasn't him doing a clone mission with his gun.
To be part of our stuff,
he just decided to. Well, I've asked him to do an intro for us. He refused. That was my phone going off. Man, I am super professional. I'm leaving that in there too. It just sticks the gun in the way. It's like, what do you do?
There's the cleanup.
Yeah, there's some nasty area there. But yeah, I got a bunch of yellow there. So what I did is I reached over, I grabbed a clean brush, I dipped it in some water, and I started soaking up the yellow. It doesn't clean it up perfectly. But I soaked up some of the yellow right there to kind of make it not as obvious. And we're going to do a little more cleanup in just a second. But yeah, the companion series, we're going to talk about games, because we did our informal polling. Where we asked people where they got started, and a surprising number of people say, yeah, see that ugly yellow on there?
Yeah.
We're going to go ahead and grab our gray Seer, and we're going to touch up this area that's eventually going to be white. And we're just going to go ahead and paint over the black areas we screwed up, because we're just going to put more black Templar over that in just a second, and it's going to disappear. It's going to be fine, especially on Carlos. This is the best Ranger to do it to, because he was literally just gray with black over him.
Yeah.
So he's the easiest one to screw up on. A lot of people said they only play board games, or more specifically, some people even said they only play this board game. There were some people saying that board games were too tedious to get into. There were some people who didn't seem to have any interest in war games whatsoever. There were some people who kind of mentioned there was an interest in war games, but they never really got into it for budget reasons, not having a budget system.
Yeah, that's legit.
And what we have here, what you have in these sets, what we have here is we have some Retributor armor. This is for the belt buckles. We're just going to do it on all 5 of them. You have a start to expanding your tabletop gaming right here in the figures you already own for this game. I got to assume a lot of people who actually bother watching this video have this set.
I mean, yeah.
I would assume there's not people who don't follow if they don't have it. Maybe there is.
Maybe they're dreaming of the day that they own it.
Maybe. Or maybe they're taking advice from here to go back to figs that they do have. So we're going back to our Vallejo Blue Magic, and we're just doing the guns. Said this before. I'm going to say it again. I did not follow a picture for the weapons at all. I don't care.
Because you just want to make it pretty.
This is my own touch of personalization. I didn't sit there and say, hey, I know the Astro Blasters are blue with silver, and there's dots of red. I didn't bother looking it up. I didn't bother looking at a picture. I'm not interested. I didn't bother looking at their power weapons for this group of Rangers. I'm just not interested. I don't care. I do the weapons kind of the way I think is going to look cool, because it gives a hint of personalization in a pre-established color scheme.
Right.
Let's say that's the reason. It's not at all that I don't care.
It's not at all that you're just lazy and you don't want to bother pulling up the reference.
That's not me at all. I would never do that. I did for Cyclops. But yeah, there's a surprising number of people who don't have other gaming interests.
There are people who don't spend all the monies on the games?
Apparently not.
I don't understand.
And
I'm very confused.
I have other games I want to talk about on this channel. We did a Star Wars Legion battle report once. Yes. I want to do more of those. That was fun. I enjoyed doing that.
Yes, where Julian betrayed me multiple times.
Absolutely.
Because 7-year-old.
And there's a whole community out there on YouTube of people who are better at this than I am that is all about painting wargaming minis. But so many people here don't paint any other kind of minis. This seems to be the implication. I think this is a whole niche of the hobby that's been ignored. I've heard of wargamers going to board games and painting their minis. apparently we have board gamers who only paint their minis for like a specific board game. I did not know this was a thing until recently.
So are you saying you're finally going to let me paint all the Gloomhaven models?
We've been planning on painting Gloomhaven models forever. If you want to get started on them, go for it. So anyway, this blue magic is the same stuff we're going to use on the blue square for the Rangers. The order, I believe, was black, yellow, red, pink, blue, and I did look at a reference photo for that.
Yay!
I did look at a reference photo of that. I didn't want to screw that up. And we do a little quick touch up here where things didn't go so well. But then we pull out our Ironbraker silver and parts of the gun and parts of all the power weapons. I'm painting with some silver. So Red Ranger's got his drill sword. Andros is really not that smart using a sword. A drill is a sword.
That is one of those weapons that I fully don't at me, don't get crazy on me, but when it comes to some of the power weapons of the various Ranger teams over time, Andros' sword, drill sword, sticks out as one of those ones where you went, I want to know what the designer was thinking.
I'm literally painting Cassie right now. She's holding a satellite radar.
That at least makes sense for space. Yeah, don't look at me like that.
Only in Duck Dodgers in the 24th century.
That's actually why I love it.
And that's just dating myself right there. So yeah, there's a lot of things you can do to get into other gamings with little or no budget. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
And there's actually things you can do with this game with
other
little
things.
or no budget and bring it to other games.
What are we doing? What
this is just a wash.
Oh, you're washing
some
some
Fleshland Reichshade. Wow, that's not even a word. Reichland Fleshshade. No, I'm not. That's not what I'm doing here at all. Agrax Earthshade is what we're using.
I thought that was it.
We're washing. I usually use Reichland Fleshshade for my goals. I don't know why I didn't use it here. Probably because I was keeping a limited palette. Agrax Earthshade on the yellow collars, on the belt buckles. Real simple. Quick step. Any brush will do. And then we're going to go and jump in and grab our Nuln Oil. It's going to go over all the silver.
Any brush will do.
Yeah, anywhere there's silver on the Rangers, and even the gun casings themselves, we're doing our Nuln Oil. On the gun casings, this kind of shades them a little bit without me having to pick out the small details that actually are on them, because in a lot of cases, you're not really seeing the gun that much when they're standing on the table, for the most part.
Yeah.
And like on Cassie, you might be, but that giant radar dish on the edge of her gun's kind of distract your eyes from it anyway.
Is it weird that I see Cassie's gun and all I think of is like Marvin the Martian, like pointing at it?
That's what I'm saying. Duck Dodgers in the 24th century. That's
this is my space modulator. Warner Brothers, don't come after us. I'm sorry. I love your stuff. Don't hurt me. I think it was
Renegade. That's enough of that. Crazy person. I think it was Renegade who came out with it, or it might have been a sister company that was working with Renegade. There's a Power Rangers RPG that just came out or was coming very close.
Yes.
Guys, you don't need it. I haven't played it. I don't know the rules. I'm not bashing it. I probably won't try it, only because we have several RPG books that we can never seem to gather people together to play RPGs with. That's a whole topic for another video, is adulting, is gaming as an adult.
Yeah.
Because you have everything you need for a Power Rangers RPG right now. You grab a couple dice. You could even use Power Rangers dice if you wanted to. You don't need rules to play an RPG.
You could use them like Fate dice.
You could use them like Fate dice. You don't need rules to play an RPG. But if you did need rules, if you're the type of person who needs a set of rules, look into XDM, Extreme Dungeon Mastery. It's got a built-in set of rules. I'm not sure what I'm doing here. I apparently had a stroke. But
Blue, you're just like, look at him.
I know.
Look at this majestic Mamba.
I think I got distracted by the dogs at this point, actually. And because I'm really good at editing my videos and watching clips, I didn't cut this part out, which is amazing because, guys, I cut almost an hour and a half of raw footage off of this, and somehow I missed whatever the crap I'm doing here. Did I turn the camera away? Am I painting off camera? I'm back.
No, you were shifting some paints around, and now you're like, listen at this, I'm going to use...
I think I got distracted by the dogs there.
Some paint. What are you
This is still the Nuln Oil.
Okay, still Nuln Oil.
This is still the Nuln Oil wash.
Okay.
But anyway, XDM, Extreme Dungeon Mastery. I'd look into that book if I were you. That book has everything you need to play an RPG in any setting, in any universe, made up, franchise, fantasy, sci-fi, science fantasy, whatever Power Rangers
reality.
Considered modern.
You just want to be like, offices and bosses kind of mentality.
Yeah, modern, nice Magic Tavern reference. So anyway, we're gonna we're going to bounce back, and we're using all the same colors here, guys. So we're using the squid pink for the pink. We're using the Evil Sun Scarlet for the red. We're using we're actually using Abaddon Black for the black, which is the same black we use for the bases here. But otherwise, it's all the same colors we've used before, so I don't need to repeat myself as we do it here. And you'll see I'm going to do all 5 colors on Cassie, then we're kind of move to the next step. But yeah, XDM gives you everything you need. It's a generic enough framework that you could play a game of XDM in the Power Rangers universe.
Yep.
You could play a game of XDM in, since we've been referencing it, the Looney Tunes universe.
Yeah.
You could play it in a universe that you thought up in a fever dream while high on peyote and scaling Mount Vesuvius. All of it's
Really? Really? That's where you go with that?
We've talked about nothing so far tonight.
So you go with Zoolander.
I had a topic I wanted to talk about tonight. I wanted to talk about gaming as an adult, and I think that's going to come up in our first podcast-type companion series.
Where you and I just paint? And they get to paint with us?
I'm literally going to point the camera at my painting desk, and I'm going to record for hour and a half, 2 hours, whatever it is. And then we're just going to record a voiceover over that.
And I assume right now you're using the Abaddon Black.
This is the Abaddon Black, yep.
To do the top little CPU area?
The Chrome Dome.
I think it's where they keep their CPU.
It might be. It flashes with things sometimes.
Yeah. And the
visors.
Yeah.
And of course the black square on the Ranger as well. But yeah, it's just going to be a companion series. We're just going to point the camera at the table, and then we're going to voice over it. And I've already actually talked to some random people about seeing if they want to come on and talk about stuff. And when I say random people, and I've talked to you about this, you know this already, so you've heard this all before.
Did I? Was I listening?
Probably not.
Oh, man.
One of the things I noticed that happens in podcasts and YouTube channels, especially hobby-centric ones,
yes,
is it becomes incestuous.
Yeah. You see the same group of people coming through. Everybody talks to them because they're all buddies.
Which is fine.
I get wanting to talk to your buddies because that's why they're your buddies.
Well, you also have some control that way. Nobody's going to come in and say something completely off the wall because you kind of know what they're going to say.
Right.
So the Abaddon Black, guys, just a refresher, a really, really wet brush. That really, really wet brush is going to... what yellow am I using? Did you see?
I thought you already knew this
I think this
rode around.
I think this is the Averland again. I'm just doing it back over it after the wash. But the Abaddon Black, really, really wet brush. It's going to be streaky and nasty. You're going to do 2 to 3 coats, and it's going to smooth out. But yeah, you can kind of control what people are going to say, but it creates for an incestuous space where it suddenly seems like a hobby is dominated by 10, 20, 30, 40 people instead of the thousands of people who actually make it up. So one of the things we want to do, or I want to do, I don't think I've really gotten your blessing yet or nay, is I would love for people who watch these videos to be the third chair in those conversations.
Okay.
I'd like to hear from people. Like I said, I've already talked to a couple of people, and I've asked them what they might want to talk about. And I'd love to bring them in and hear about your games, your hobby, and topics we come up with as well. We'll all make notes, and we'll all get together and we'll have a conversation. And while that's going on, believe it or not, we've already got to the end of this video.
Yay!
So all 5 Space Rangers are painted. We'll do some extreme close-ups here for a second. You see we did to the bases what we've done with all of them. We painted the rim of the base to match their Ranger color. It's just the same colors we've been using all the way through. So that's where we're at. We got 5 Rangers done in 2 videos. We're going to beat that next week. We're going to do 6 Rangers in 1 video on the next episode, episode 31.
Ooh.
You guys can go ahead and get psyched up for that. But there's going to be 6 Rangers that come in next video. And otherwise, we'll be putting out some new content soon. Leave us a comment. It really helps us. Like and subscribe. Hit the bell button for notifications. But leave us a comment. Tell us what you want to see. Tell us what we could be doing better. Tell us what you hate. We'll see you next time.
Bye!